We've been getting a dialogue between Kundadanta and a sage who was sitting under a tree where an ashram used to be. And this sage is given the most profound teaching and the most powerful indication to the nature of consciousness. And this is through examining memory and understanding the notional nature of memory, and how memory is what we base so much of our assumptions about ourselves and the external world on. I read a very vivid description of somebody having a heart attack once. It was in the autobiography of Harpo Marx, although I've tried to find this passage again and I can't find it. I don't know whether this is a false memory or not. I've really tried to find this passage as I remember reading it. I thought it was a very vivid description of somebody having a heart attack. And he was describing how it was a pleasant afternoon. Maybe he was playing his harp, and suddenly the whole scene seemed to take on a very unreal air, an almost dreamlike quality, and it started to fade. And I thought, well, this must be what it's like when you die. It's not completely sudden. Everything that we considered real, and all our memories especially, start sifting away. They start leaking away as this whole reality dissolves like a dream. And it's an experience we have every night when we dream, when we move from one dream to another, or when we move from dream to waking up. All the memories, all the experiences associated with that dream just fade away. Some people say that they never dream, but of course they dream. They might have very emotional dreams, very powerfully charged dreams, but when they wake up, it's all faded away and they're getting on with something else. I've said before, I think the whole phenomenon of dreams gives us a huge insight into how consciousness works, how reality works. And I think it's fair to assume that there's a good reason that this is how death works as well. There's this fading away of reality. And when I say fading away, it's not so much just that all this fades away, it's all our memories, all our attachments, all our feelings. They fade away because of the intrinsic dreamlike nature of everything. It's consciousness. What are our memories? I mentioned this memory. It's from this book, Harpo Speaks. And I don't know, I've read this book before and I've got this memory of this particular passage, but I can't seem to find it again. Maybe if I read it through page by page I'll find it. But I've had a good look for it. So was that memory real or was it constructed? It doesn't matter because my point is what it is. So this consideration of memory and realizing that memory is notional. And as I've pointed out before, we've got a lot of emotion behind these notions. That emotion is what reinforces these memories, what stops us from letting go of these memories as being of no more substance than dream. Everything comes and everything goes. But then something new always comes along. This is consciousness. It's the play of consciousness. So we don't need to get sad about it, or remorseful, or grieve. We're often being told in the Yoga Vasishta not to grieve, because there's an infinite supply of dreams, an infinite supply, And we can get caught up in the dreams, or we can realize and appreciate and rest in the nature of consciousness. This is our spiritual practice. So this is a very powerful teaching from the sage. And the thing about the sage is, he didn't want to engage. And although he'd been sitting in this realization for what could be epochs, hundreds if not thousands of years, he felt it would be very easy to lose this. He didn't want to talk to Kundadanta or the others. He wanted them to be on their way quickly, because the more he spoke, the more he was in danger of getting lost in notions. Whereas we're often told just to get on with things, but come back to this awareness of consciousness. So it could be that the sage was still caught up with traditional yogic notions, but at the same time it expresses a certain valid concern to keep practicing, to keep coming back to this awareness, to keep realizing the nature of consciousness, and immerse yourself as much as possible in the teaching of the Yoga Vasishta and other wisdom texts. Kundadanta said, having said thus, the sage immediately closed his eyes and entered into deep contemplation. His life breath and his mind had ceased to move, and therefore he sat there like a painted picture. We tried to speak to him, but he did not even hear us. We were sorry to lose him. However, we moved away from there and slowly reached the house. In course of time, all the 7 brothers passed away. Only my friend, the 8th brother, lived. Later, he too passed away. I was overcome by grief. Therefore, once again I went to that sage at the foot of the Kadamba tree. I waited upon him. After 3 months he opened his eyes. In answer to my prayer he said to me, I am devoted to contemplation or samadhi. I cannot stay away from it even for a moment. The truth does not become clear in you until it is heard again and again and meditated upon again and again. I shall therefore tell you what to do. Go to Ayodhya. There is a king there known as Dasaratha. His son is Rama. His guru Vasishta is discoursing upon the means to liberation. Listen to this. By that means you will attain supreme peace. Having said this, he once again entered into samadhi. I then came to this place to be with you. Ram said, that Kundadanta is sitting next to me and has devoutly heard this discourse on the means to liberation. Today he is free from all doubts.